Did all of you get confirmation banners?
No.
Okay, I didn't either.
I did.
Baptism will banner, but not confirmation.
Did you,
In fact,
Sarah?
No. Listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Bree.
And I'm Rachel.
And in this strange Coronatide season, we were going to talk about confirmation, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. And then the pandemic hit and we bumped that episode for the actual pandemic episode because life was weird. So we're revisiting that today in an appropriate time because a lot of people are actually talking about confirmation right now, which is super exciting. This is a Bree's How to Lutheran episode. So Bree, take it away. What are we talking about today?
So about 5 minutes ago, I just learned that I'm the only one out of the 4 of us who have actually had this experience. So I'm very intrigued.
Okay, we've all been confirmed.
We're all confirmed.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, they've all been confirmed. We've all been confirmed. Today, I specifically want to talk about felt confirmation banners.
Yes.
Sorry, my voice cracked. Felt confirmation banners.
We didn't meet you halfway, Bree, because we've all been confirmed, and we've all had a felt banner in our lives.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real.
True.
Let's focus on what binds us together.
I've never had a felt banner.
Yet.
You've never had one, period?
All right, listeners.
No, I don't have
Erin
one.
needs a felt banner in her life.
Wow.
This is giving me an existential crisis. Like, is this even a thing?
Apparently my church didn't. We had the cradle roll, and so I had a little felt lamb on a felt banner at church, but I don't personally have a felt banner for anything.
I'm okay with
This was
it.
not a thing in my church. But anyway.
But
not about
anyway.
me. Bree.
Sorry. So, as I was reflecting on my own confirmation experience, I don't even know how many years ago. I'm so old, it's not even funny.
Bree. Darling.
Looking back, it still fills me with so much secondhand anxiety. There are so many things going on in the life of an adolescent, just in general, but add to that the weight of, depending on what your confirmation traditions were at your church, it could be anything from standing up in front of the church and giving a faith testimony. It could be sitting like spelling bee style in the gym and having to answer questions about the small catechism in front of an audience of people. The actual, like, Holy Communion act in and of itself, if you've never had wine before and you're like, I'm taking the Eucharist next to Billy, who I have a severe crush on. What if I take this wine and I get sick everywhere because it's gross and like I embarrass myself in front of everybody? Like, of all the things to be worried about, let's just throw that into the mix. And maybe it's me. Maybe I was just overly anxious as a child. I'm open to that. But there are things about that time in my life that have just sort of wrought me with anxiety. Now, I have also, since then, come to really appreciate that time in my life, because looking back, I can also think about all of the ways in which the confirmation experience tied me to my church body, tied me to the local congregation. So one of the traditions that we had at Good Shepherd Lutheran in Collinsville, Illinois, was the night of questioning. We had a questioning where we all sort of sat on a panel. The pastor would ask us questions about the small catechism. We would answer to the best of our abilities, and then from there, we would either be recommended to move forward or, I don't know what happens if you don't get that recommended. Maybe I don't know.
Yikes.
I don't know if you pass or not. I don't know. If anybody out there
Like a pass fail?
Well, I don't know. I think pretty much everyone passes.
Although I was worried about not passing.
Right. Like there's an anxiety there. Like, what if I don't do good?
What if I'm not Lutheran enough to be confirmed?
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
what I'm saying.
They let you believe that you might not pass to get you to take it seriously, but in reality, let's face it, everybody passes.
Everybody passes.
For anxiety-prone children, that is just not cool. But anyway.
I think if there's concern, usually the pastor sort of tries to get in front of that before you're to the point of the public examination.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you, though, when you said there's a night of questioning, and I was just like flashing back to every dystopian middle grade novel I've ever read.
That's our take on it. That's the Lutheran take on it. But after that questioning session, we met with members of the LWML at that church who were like sort of our sponsors. So through that year, we would be matched up with sort of like a secret sponsor, and we would send notes of encouragement back and forth to each other throughout the year. They would encourage us to just keep at it and the importance of, educating yourself in the Lutheran faith. So that night, though, after the questioning was over, they would do like these reveals of like who are our secret sponsors, and you got to meet them, and there was a big reception. They distributed like the pewter crosses that are commonly distributed at confirmation time.
The AAL cross.
I do have a cross.
And the most important part of all is you get to now partake of the Lord's Supper on a routine basis with the rest of your brothers and sisters in Christ. So I guess it's worth the anxiety. Personally, I wish I had taken more time to appreciate the experience. There was a lot going on in my life at that time. We were getting ready to move across the country to a completely different place. So there was some, tribulation, turmoil, just sort of unease during that time in my life. So I just didn't have time to really appreciate it. It wasn't necessarily emphasized in my household. I don't even remember what my confirmation verse is. On my bucket list is to figure that out. Yeah.
It's probably on your banner, Bree.
Well, so here's the thing. We've moved twice in the last 3 years. And I looked. I scrubbed high and low. It was like the widow looking for the coin in my apartment. I scoured every nook and cranny of my apartment back when we were going to do this, when this episode was originally scheduled. I couldn't find it. I'm holding out hope that it might still be there somewhere, but I don't know. But it was on there. So as far as the felt confirmation banner is concerned, this was another tradition that our church had as part of the confirmation process. It was, I don't really know the dimensions of it. I think, thinking about like baptism banners, those are usually pretty small. This was a pretty sizable banner, and it had my first name, and then there was like some sort of iconography or like symbol, kind of like a Chrismon deal, and then it had your confirmation verse at the bottom of the banner. So it's there, it's out there somewhere. Maybe I don't know. Maybe by some act of divine providence, I'll find it someday. Who knows? But for me, as anxiety-ridden as I was at that time, let's add on to the fact that I had to make my own confirmation banner. So right. The LWML ladies, not gonna help. This was a probably intentional activity that was meant for you and your family to sort of come together and make your design, right?
Okay, so I'm in the middle of this right now. Actually, my son is being confirmed later this month, and I'm so excited about it. You talk, Brie, about how you were having a crazy time and it was all kind of a blur. Spoiler, everybody at the end of eighth grade is at a time in their life that when they look back, it's going to feel like a blur. But I have got we moved last month and I think I lost it. I'm supposed to help him design a stole, a red stole that he's gonna wear
Oh.
over his robe. And I need to find it. We're gonna put an anchor cross on it. That's what we want.
Of course.
Okay.
But yeah, it's this family experience. And of course, for me, not being terrifically crafty, as we have discussed previously, this is creating anxiety for me. So I understand your confirmation banner anxiety. And probably your mom kind of shared that. I'm going to just guess.
Yes, because here's why.
Okay.
So all of the banner making happened in like our multi-purpose room in the church basement. There were bins upon bins of like felt scraps that had been probably just reused and recycled throughout the years. And you were given your white banner as sort of your blank canvas. And what was also provided was potential designs for you to use. So anything from like just a standard cross to sort of that shepherd symbol that you so often see in Lutheran churches, to, I'm sure the anchor cross was maybe one of those choices, lambs, I mean, whatever kind of Christian symbol you can think of, it was probably in those 3 sheets of paper of suggested designs.
Let me just take a guess. You didn't want to use one of those symbols. You wanted to make it yourself.
No. Close.
Does the confirmation banner have a dog on it by any chance?
It did not have a dog on it. But even at 13 years old or whatever, I don't even know how old I was, I had seen from year to year the different symbols and designs that had been used, and I wanted to be different.
Surprising, really surprising.
Maybe it's a surprise, maybe not. Also, in addition to being different, and I think this is why I am also extra, probably as extra as it gets.
No way.
So I chose.
We love you for it, Brie.
Thank you. I chose probably the most complex, difficult design in the entire booklet, which is probably why I never saw it, because it was just a crazy mess and racket to put together. But if I remember correctly, there was like it was sort of like this blue background with a sun, and there was like a pot, like a terracotta pot with like leaves, or maybe it was like a tree sapling or something. But man, all I can remember is just cutting out of sheets of felt leaves, just leaf upon leaf upon leaf. And my mom, when
you finally find this banner, you're going to be like, there's only 5 leaves on this. What happened? How do I remember this?
Here's what I remember, though. I was like, Mom, I want to do this one. And she looked at it. And like, you could tell, she was like, oh no. But she was super crafty. And she's like, and so this is where that sort of the curveball comes in, Erin, is she's like, well, we could do it, but let's do it this different way. So she sort of used her visual creativity to make it a little simpler. But dang, if there weren't so many felt leaves, like, just thinking about it, on my fingertips, it's like Aileen's tacky glue and like felt residue. Like I can feel it on my in my tongue. It feels like it's in my tongue now. Really disgusting. I do have a question for Rachel though about the stole.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a felt deal? Like what is?
No, it's actually fabric. I know felt is a fabric, but kind of.
We'll get to that.
No, it's like a red cotton poly blend. So it's, if I can find it, we should have fun putting it together. Fun.
Awesome.
Who am I kidding? I'm going to do the whole thing myself. All right, let's just get that out there.
Because you know he's going to wait until the night before.
Yeah. I
That's
know.
the
This
way
is
it
what
is.
I'm doing on Confirmation Eve. So
That's right. That's
worth
right.
it. He's worth it.
It is worth it.
This is such a cool thing. Going through confirmation with my kids has just reinforced for me what a valuable part of growing up in the church it is, that you get this opportunity to basically say that faith I was baptized in to as a baby, that's mine. I claim that. I want that. And it's such a wonderful turning point moment. Like the kids walk taller after they've been through confirmation. That they feel like a grown-up contributing member of the church in a way that they maybe didn't before. And so, it's definitely worth a tacky felt banner to commemorate whatever you do to celebrate confirmation. Big cake, whatever. This year is going to be weird. We're not having a reception. I miss receptions a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But
Reception cake.
I know.
Mm.
But even if there's no cake, doesn't change the fact that this is a milestone moment.
It's true.
For the young people who are going through it. And I'm so excited.
So what I want to do, and I can't believe I Googled this, the history of felt. I Googled it the other day. Yes. And I'm totally reading into this. And I'm okay with it. I hope you're okay with it too. Learn some cool things about it. It is an ancient fabric. Many textile scholars would contend it is the oldest fabric in the world. It is mentioned in Sumerian legends, so we're talking like ancient Middle East, like cradle of civilization times is when we were talking about it. Some people think it was...
Jesus might have used felt?
Yeah, well, so there is mention of it potentially being used on Noah's Ark.
Yes.
Which is probably simply from the fact that you had all this, like,
wool,
animal hair, and, like, walking around and, like peeing and stuff, like... Because that's how felt is made, basically, is you take sort of these fibers, and through compression and, like, adding moisture and whatever, like, that's how you get sort of your sheet of felt. And then you can sort of use it however...
If you have any 100% wool items in your closet, you could accidentally make felt one day.
Totally.
Launder it a little bit wrong. But I can see how felt would be great on Noah's Ark because it's a super dense weave, very warm, keeps out the wind and the rain. It's like Noah's poncho. It's made out of felt.
Yeah, for sure. It was used, it was popular for use in like sandals. Before Dr. Scholl's was invented. It's used as tent material. So I just thought it was kind of cool that, like, it's probably a fabric as old as time itself. And even now, thousands of years later, it is something. And yes, it's synthetic now. And in the case of confirmation banners, it's like, it's super colorful. It's synthetic. It's 39 cents a sheet, so it's cheap. But it gets the job done.
You don't want to put an open flame near it. No open flames.
No open flames near it. Just make sure. But to know that it's part of the tradition now, I just think it's kind of cool.
Felt is actually one of my favorite things. The process of making felt, like felting with actual raw roving from wool, from sheep. I learned how to do this in my fiber art class back in college. and I actually felted the cake topper for my wedding out of roving. So I have a felt wedding cake topper that I actually made, and I have a felt cactus because it's super cathartic to like when you felt things for art project, like 3D art projects, you actually take the roving and then you like stab it together with a needle. So you get to stab something like 100 million times and then you make something pretty. So it's like this
Really?
cathartic process that
You
you
like
end up with
stabbing
something you can
stuff.
display. It's really fun.
Stabbing.
And you can like blend colors together like watercolors. It's really cool.
Didn't
That's
you
cool.
felt a Chrismon last year,
Did you
Sarah?
have a major Chrismon?
Amazing.
I did not. Wait, did I?
You did.
I did
Yes,
felt
you
the whole
did.
thing, didn't I?
Uh-huh.
I think I blocked
It was
that partially
much
from my
larger than
memory.
expected.
Oh no, I don't remember. I used felt. It was glitter felt, and it got everywhere. I don't think I actually needle felted it though. I think my plan was to needle felt, and then I realized that was going to take me like 3 years just to make something. But I did actually use felt, and it was glitter, and it got all over my living room, and it will be
get
here
started
after we
now
leave.
for season 4.
I'm going to make one eventually though. Felting is super fun. Everyone should do it.
Everyone should do it. I personally feel like growing up in the Lutheran Church in America, that felt banners are sort of a staple in the church, whether it's for confirmation or a baptism, and even sometimes like the liturgical art that you see being hung up in churches. It's made out of felt. And I think part of that is like, now that Matt is in seminary, for example, and like looking at stoles and church art, and there's a lot of beautiful stuff out there, very like ornate and skillfully crafted, but it's super expensive. And people should be rightfully, what is the word just left me? Oh my goodness.
Compensated.
There it is. People should be rightfully
I knew where you were going.
But I think that maybe because of that, we see that sort of more commonly in Lutheran and evangelical churches in the country. In my research, I also came across sort of what I believe to be like anti-felt banner sentiments, especially from the Roman Catholic contingent in America. There is a blogger who is a contributor at 1peter5.com, Stephen DeJulius, who wrote an article about sort of what he called cotton candy Catholicism, and sort of how the felt banner is like a symbol of that. Some Roman Catholics, sounds like they tend to associate the felt banner with like watered down folk worship of the 70s and the 80s. I do think that, as Lutherans, we can debate those details, and we do. But again, I think the felt banner is used so much more widely that it's not as, I don't think there are so many like people against the use of felt banners. And personally, there definitely is like a mid-century like feel to them. But here's the other thing, is if you're creating a confirmation banner with a symbol on it of some kind, whether it's the shepherd or the cross or a sapling with a sun shining over it, there's meaning behind it. It's simple and it's vintage, but it means something.
Yeah, and we have this drive to create art. Felt banners are great because they can be done on any scale that you want. I have one from when I was baptized that says, "Rachel Ann, I have called you by name and you are mine." Like, I remember seeing this throughout my childhood. But they also can be done big enough to fit the scale of a sanctuary. And I guess I get a little bit where, your Catholic blogger friend was coming from. If you look back at some of the fiber arts that have been in churches, through the years, and you're like, wow, that altar parament probably took 10 nuns 20 years to stitch together. And
Of course.
sure, if you look at that, that is superior to the felt banner made in a weekend with tacky glue. But that's inaccessible for most people, most churches. And so, yeah, I'm a huge proponent of art in any way you can reasonably get it into your life. And I think that's what you're getting at here with the felt banner, that this is liturgical art that is accessible to everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's a way for people to get involved too. We do the felt baptism banners at my church now, and it's something that there's a group of women who that is what they do for the babies in the church. They make these felt banners, and that is their way of being involved in service in the church. So if you take the felt away from them, if you can't sew, like some people can sew amazing things, but if that's not your skill, well, like this is like Rachel was saying, this is a way for people of any like if you can cut along lines, you can make a felt banner. I hope.
I think it's also one of those. I feel like we talked about this before, and I'm forgetting when, but it's sort of maybe it's to do with the Jell-O salad. It's one of those ways that is, in a lot of ways, it's not like it's limited to women, but it's traditionally a women's art form. Making the banners to decorate the church has traditionally, it's not limited to it, but it's traditionally been done by women. And it is a cool thing to be able to see that. One of my favorite things at the LWML conventions is to walk around in the convention hall, where they have along the whole perimeter of the convention hall, they have all the banners, because that's one of the things that all of the groups, maybe not all, but lots and lots of the groups that come prepare a banner that's then displayed throughout the time, and it's each individual. Often it's unique to their setting, and it's again communicating something about where they live and where their faith is. And so it's amazing to see all the different ways that people do express that, and it is a cool thing. I do think, though, I don't know, I think the large scale banner making is a dying art. I don't know if that's because I don't know why that is. I'm sure that I could come up with speculation, but I don't know what the actual reason is. But my church has some old banners, but nobody is interested in making the big ones anymore. And at other churches I've been to, it's a rare thing that they might bring out a new banner, but they've got, this huge backlog of other banners that they'll rotate through. But the banner making has shifted to the smaller ones now, I think, in my experience. Maybe there's some churches that are exceptions out there, but doing it for baptisms or confirmations seems to be the way it's sort of gone, that we hold on to that particular aspect.
And I think that is certainly why I am very interested to learn about the experiences of the members of our Facebook group. One of the things that we sort of hang our hats on with this show is that we all Lutheran a little bit differently. Maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're like, "Oh, I didn't even realize that Lutherans did that, and we didn't." So I'm very interested to hear what you all sort of have experienced, the traditions you had in your confirmation, and we can sort of compare notes and see what the trends are and where we're going as Lutherans in the future.
Yeah. How do you commemorate confirmation as the milestone it is? Bree, did I hear you correctly? You don't remember what your confirmation verse is?
It's true.
But it has to be unique, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I think it would be appropriate if each of your fellow co-hosts suggested a confirmation verse for Bree as a way to close. I should, in the interest of full disclosure, my son looked at the list of pre-approved confirmation verse choices, and he decided to go off script. So his is from Job.
Of course.
But, our pastor was super supportive. He said, yeah, dude, go for it, because it works. So you can actually think outside the box with your confirmation verse. And I think that in case you never find your banner and never figure it out, we need some runner-up confirmation verses for you.
Definitely.
So I'll go first because I'm going to give Sarah and Erin just a moment to think about what is a good verse.
Let me give them some even more time and just do a couple of honorable mentions.
Okay.
Before we wrap it up. Mm-hmm. So, love the confirmation open house, fruit punch in a bowl, party sub, Cruda bakery cake. I'm sorry. Like, I hope I'm not like breaking copyright here, but also I feel like I should apologize to Cruda Bakery because not only did my mom have to help me make a serious like pain in the butt confirmation banner, what Cruda Bakery did was they would basically make a replica of your banner as like your sheet cake design. So for any grief or inconvenience that I maybe had caused them, I apologize. The cake was delicious, and I just really want some Cruda sheet cake right now. Thanks. Peace.
And we at KFUO also love Cruda. They always give us pastries for our share-a-thon every year. So big multiple thumbs up to Cruda. They always get rave reviews. Not that this is an advertisement for them, but we also love them.
But it isn't.
It kind of is.
There.
And I'm sure everyone has their local. I know we had our local pastry place that everyone got their. I don't remember what it was, but we had one too in Dearborn that everyone always went to. The cakes were like the best part for the open house. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Let's
Are
have
we ready? We're gonna give Bree her replacement confirmation verses, and I'll go first. So this one will not fit on a banner because it's actually 3 verses, but you need all 3 for context. So, Bree, your confirmation verses would be Acts 4, verses 34 through 37. I lied, it's 4 verses. There was not a needy person among them, for as many as were owners of lands or houses sold them and brought the proceeds of what was sold and laid it at the apostles' feet, and it was distributed to each as any had need. Thus Joseph, who was also called by the apostles Barnabas, which means son of encouragement, a Levite, a native of Cyprus, sold a field that belonged to him and brought the money and laid it at the apostles' feet. Bree, you are a daughter of encouragement. And your generosity is a gift. So that's one option for a confirmation verse for you.
Yes! Should have brought Kleenex. Who wants to go next? Keep it rolling.
Mine is super short, and it's a verse that I've always loved, and I was secretly hoping would be my confirmation verse back when I was 13. So I'm going to give it to you instead. And I actually already have a felted banner with this verse visually depicted on it. So I can also show you the banner that would go along with this. And then you can have a new banner. And that is Psalm 119, 105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light for my path. And if I ever got a tattoo, that's what it would be. Sorry, Mom and Dad. I'm not getting a tattoo, I promise. But if I ever did, that's what it would be.
Well, I will give you my current favorite Bible verse. I guess it's 2 verses. So it's Romans 7, 24 and 25a. Wretched man that I am, who will rescue me from this body of death? Thanks be to God through Jesus Christ our Lord. That is actually my current favorite Bible verse, so I will give it to you for your confirmation verse.
Thank you.
That is a good one.
I feel like I want a do-over so that I can have that for my confirmation verse.
I kind of want the one about Jael throwing the tent peg through the dude's head, but that really has nothing to do with it. So
I don't think that would work on a banner.
No.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah. That's good.
Might not be appropriate.
So much. That was super sweet of you. Appreciate.
Everyone needs a confirmation verse. Not everyone needs my confirmation verse, which is Romans 8:28, probably the most common confirmation verse in existence. Still a good one, though.
And that's it. That's all I got.
Oh man, thanks Bree for sharing your stories about confirmation banners. Since the three of us apparently don't have one, and that's fine. I think we should all just like make our confirmation banners though, and so we all can like join in this. Oh, Rachel's not going to make a confirmation
Not going to
banner.
happen. I've still got a stole to make, so you guys can do banners. I'll do the stole.
It's fine.
We want to hear your stories, ladies, of your own confirmations or your kids' confirmations. If you have better stories about your kids, we'd love to hear them in the Lutheran Ladies Lounge group. You can join that group on Facebook. You can also hear all of our podcasts at kfuo.org/Lutheran Ladies Lounge or on your favorite podcasting app. You're listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm a wretched man, apparently.
And I aspire to be a daughter of encouragement.
Views and opinions expressed on the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast may not represent the official position of the management or ownership of KFUO Radio, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. The Lutheran Ladies Lounge is produced by KFUO Radio and available at kfuo.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Join our community on Facebook in the Lutheran Ladies Lounge.
Also, you talk about male-female distinctions. I mean, seriously, I've run my entire life. He ran for like a month and he was faster than me. Because
it's true.
That's just how it goes. If you're an athlete, Sarah, you know this. If you're an athlete for long enough, you have to just acknowledge your biological limits and be at peace with it.
Just be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There's a reason I got an e-bike. Hey, hubby, let's go for a ride together, and now I won't feel like I'm dying. And you can draft off of me, because I can go 28 miles an hour without breaking a sweat.
Stay tuned for more marriage secrets from Sarah Golseth.
E-bikes, man.
E-bikes.
Secret to a happy marriage. Okay, for real, let's start recording now.